On the 17th of July 2011, a very timid version of myself stepped onto a plane with a one-way ticket in hand. I hadn't traveled alone before, and never for more than 2 weeks at a time. Travel was brand new and I had no idea what I was doing. I made a lot of mistakes over the past 8 years. I've been scammed in Russia, China, Laos, the Maldives, Tanzania, and Sri Lanka. I managed to lose half the things I was originally traveling with. I've got lost more times than I can count. Homesick, too. I fell down the largest sand dune in Africa. Caught cholera in Borneo. Got caught up in a tsunami in Thailand. Was stranded in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. But I've learned a ton from my experiences, too. To celebrate 8 years since I stumbled my way out of the UK and began a life of full-time travel, I've compiled an enormous list of my biggest and best travel tips. These are all things that I wish someone had told me before I started traveling, so I hope you'll find them useful, inspiring, educational, and entertaining. Brace yourselves, because this is a long one. It's time to start learning from my mistakes. Smiley face. 1. Eat the local food. One of my biggest regrets from the first year of my travels was that I wasn't brave enough to try any of the local food. I was raised a picky eater, and that, combined with debilitating anxiety and an eating disorder, led to me believing that I would either hate or be allergic to anything I hadn't tried before. I was so wrong. Food is now my absolute favorite way to get to know a place better. I love trying new things, and I've found 1,000 amazing dishes that I never would have discovered if I'd continued to eat from supermarkets around the world. Trying new food isn't scary, and you'll build your confidence up as you fall in love with more and more things. Try everything, even if you have no idea what it is. I promise you won't regret it. Or fall straight into anaphylactic shock. 2. Plan as little as possible. One of the first lessons I learned on the road was that your plans will nearly always change. You'll arrive in a place and hate it and want to leave immediately, or you'll fall in love with a destination and want to spend longer there. You'll make friends with a group of awesome people and want to change your plans so you can travel with them for longer, or you'll find out about an amazing sounding town that's nearby and want to head there instead. Sure, you should have a rough plan for your trip, but don't book everything in advance or you'll likely feel too restricted and end up regretting it. Book a one-way ticket and your first few nights of accommodation, you'll figure the rest out along the way. It's not as intimidating as it sounds. If you're in a tourist destination, there'll always be someone who's willing to take your money by giving you a place to stay. 3. Travel insurance is everything. Seriously. If you do only one thing before you leave, make it getting travel insurance. I've heard far too many horror stories of travelers injuring themselves in remote places and ending up in hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of debt. Don't think that it won't happen to you, because you know those travelers thought that too. I've used World Nomads for my travel insurance provider for 6 years and recommend them to everyone I know. They were fantastic to deal with when making a claim. 4. Carry around spare passport photos. People laughed at me when I said that I was carrying around a dozen spare passport photos, but they've been incredibly useful and saved me a ton of time and hassle. Who wants to wander the streets of some rural town in Cambodia searching for someone who can take your photo? Friends of mine had to do this. I've used them to apply for visas around the world, to get a new passport when mine expired while I was on the other side of the planet, and I even needed one to buy a local SIM card in Nepal. Having spares in my backpack meant that I didn't have to waste a day researching and then wandering around a city to try to find someone who could take a passport-sized photo of me. 5. Keep everything important in your daypack. I'm fortunate to have never had to deal with lost luggage, but I did have my backpack ripped open on a flight and I was grateful to have not had anything valuable in it at the time. I've also been on dodgy buses in Southeast Asia where we've arrived at our destination and people have had items stolen by someone hiding out in the luggage hold while we were transit. If there's anything I'd be upset to lose, I keep it in my daypack, which is always by my side on travel days. For me, that's my passport, laptop, camera, external hard drive, a debit card, and some spare cash. As long as I have all of these, I can survive indefinitely.